Who is this actually good for, who should skip it, and is it worth the price for normal everyday buyers? If you've ever stood in a shop watching a tech wrestle with a clunky recovery unit, you know the hesitation that comes with putting a few $100s into a piece of equipment that might never see regular use. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. In this video I'm going to walk through why the Robinair 34888HD heavy-duty R134a recovery, recycling, and recharging machine lands where it does on that scale, and how you can avoid the most common buyer's remorse moments. First off, let's set the scene. You're either an independent automotive technician, a small shop owner, or maybe a serious DIY enthusiast who just started handling a C-service on your own rides. The job you're looking at isn't a one-off quick fix on a sedan, it's something that might involve a fleet of delivery vans, a couple of trucks, or even the occasional bus that shows up for a seasonal coolant change. In those circumstances, the capacity of your recovery unit becomes the first make-or-break factor. That's where the extra capacity claim on the Robinair 34888HD starts to matter. The machine comes with a removable external tank that can hold enough refrigerant to handle a full-size van or a medium-sized bus without you having to stop and swap containers mid-job. Now, let's talk about the practical side of that extra capacity. In my own shop, the biggest headache with lower capacity units is the constant back and forth between the vehicle and the recovery tank. Every time you finish pulling refrigerant from a larger system, you have to pause, disconnect, and dump the collected gas into a smaller bottle, then start over. That adds at least 10 minutes per vehicle and introduces the risk of leaks or contamination. The 34888HD's removable tank eliminates that stop and go. You hook it up, let the automatic cycle run, and when it signals recovery complete, you simply roll the tank out and seal it. For a technician pulling refrigerant from 3 to 4 vans in a day, that translates into a real-time saving maybe 20 to 30 minutes of labor that you can bill elsewhere. The machine is also fully automatic, meaning you don't have to manually monitor pressure thresholds or toggle valves while the unit does its work. The automatic program takes care of recovering, evacuating, and recharging, all in a single sequence. For a busy shop, that reduces the chance of operator error. One of the hidden trade-offs, though, is that the automation relies on a fairly robust power supply and stable ambient temperature. I've seen a few owners mention that the unit can struggle in a cramped, poorly ventilated garage during a summer heat wave, especially if you're pushing the tank to its max capacity. In those conditions, the recovery cycle can take longer than the advertised 15-minute vacuum default, and the system may trigger a safety lockout that forces you to restart the cycle. If your shop isn't climate-controlled, you might need to plan a short cooldown period between jobs. Another feature that often goes unnoticed until you actually need it is the built-in nitrogen port. In professional AC service, you frequently use nitrogen to pressurize the system while you're checking for leaks or performing a final purge. Having a dedicated port on the recovery unit means you don't have to juggle a separate nitrogen cylinder and regulator. You simply connect the hose, select the nitrogen function on the control panel, and the machine supplies a steady flow. For a shop that does a lot of leak testing, that integration saves both space and the mental overhead of swapping tools. The printer compatibility is a small but handy convenience. The 34888HD can output a printed record of the before and after pressures, recovery volume, and vacuum time. While a tech could jot those numbers down on a clipboard, having an automatic printout satisfies the documentation requirements of many commercial fleets that demand proof of service. That said, the printer interface is a standard serial connection, which means you'll need a compatible printer and a bit of setup time. It's not a deal-breaker, but it's something to factor into the overall installation effort. So, who should actually buy this machine? If you run a shop that regularly services larger vehicles, light trucks, delivery vans, or even occasional buses, the extra capacity and fully automatic cycle are genuine value drivers. The time you save on swapping tanks, the reduced risk of leaks during manual operation, and the ability to handle bigger refrigerant loads without additional equipment make the 34888HD a logical investment. It also makes sense for a serious DIYer who owns a fleet of personal vehicles, like a weekend project truck, an RV, and a family van, and who wants to stay compliant with EPA regulations without buying a separate recovery unit for each job. Who should skip it? If you're a hobbyist who only ever services a single compact car once or twice a year, the 134a is overkill. The upfront cost, the size of the external tank, and the need for a stable power source outweigh the benefits for that level of use.